David Lametti flees the Liberal Party and gives up his position as an MP, only to take another cushy job because why should there be consequences for his actions? Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I know I'm a little late to the party, and people are going to say, geez, Derek, where was this coverage last week? Well, the plate was full, and I wanted some time to simmer things down so that I could make sure all the information was out there and build what I wanted to talk about in regards to David Lametti leaving the Liberal Party of Canada. Now, it's no shocker that we covered last week, very quickly after it happened, that the federal court in Canada again ruled the use of the Emergencies Act being illegal in Canada, that the government did not have the prerequisites to enforce the act. And of course, Chrystia Freeland proudly coming forward to say, oh, we took this decision very seriously. We didn't by any means laugh when we froze people's bank accounts. And while we plan to appeal it with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of taxpayer dollars, because the government just seems to have endless resources when it comes to defending their nefarious actions. Now, following that announcement, and just after I'd posted that video, well, liberal snake and lizard person David Lametti leaves the Liberal Party. Where did he go? We're going to get into that. David Lametti sneaking away from the Liberal Party. Of course, Viva Fry, good friend of the channel, coming out. Justin Trudeau's former Minister of Justice, David Lametti, nukes his Twitter account immediately after their federal court ruling declaring the Emergencies Act identification unlawful, after Christina Freeland vows to appeal. And then he resigns. Nothing else to see here, folks. If there's anything that would make somebody look guilty, this is it. How do you say you're not guilty at this point? This is something where if you were pulled over by the police, this is kind of like them saying, can we see your ID? And you saying no. You're immediately showing signs of guilt. You're showing signs of nefarious actions. And of course, we look at this post. If you guys remember, the internet never forgets. So David Lametti was free to nuke his account. Of course, the internet never forgets. Illegal blockades and occupations threaten the safety of Canadians and hurt our economy. Well, it hurt David Lametti's economy. We're going to get into that in a minute. This must stop. Invoking the Emergencies Act will allow for temporary, proportionate measures to restore order while continuing to respect the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This is back when they were freezing bank accounts and stomping on old ladies with horses and shooting tear gas at reporters that weren't prostitutes, that don't take government handouts. Of course, David Lametti nukes his account. He wants to make sure that nobody can quote him, nobody can pull evidence from his Twitter files. Bruce McGonigal tweeting out, David Lametti just resigned in disgrace after losing his biggest court case in Canadian history, then gets almost instantly hired at a law firm. You can see why people run for Liberal Party puppets. No matter how big of the lie or the damage done, they face no real consequences. Of course, Fasken Law honored to welcome Mr. David Lametti, former Justice Minister and Attorney General to Canada, to Fasken as counsel, a dedicated advocate for Indigenous reconciliation. He's also deeply engaged in emerging technology, particularly artificial intelligence. Well, of course he wants AI. He doesn't want you to have a choice. He wants it to be made up by robots. They put their usual virtue signaling words in here with David Lametti. And again, I don't know, is it just me? Does he not look like the guy who plays Freddy Krueger? What's his name? Robert Englund? He looks like a lizard man. Like he's just there's something about him that just irks me when I look at him. Some people say he looks like a small little hobbit. I don't know. Either way, there's something. His face is very punchable. I will say that. It's one of those things like in Step Brothers when the guy says, change your face, because there's something about it that makes me just want to hit it. This smug person really makes me question what we have government for these days. Because if we look down even further, well, here's David Lametti showing off his latest purchase. David Lametti's laughing at all of you. How can politicians afford such expensive cars? Asking for a friend. Of course, David Lametti's standing right next to his brand new Ferrari. In the real world, we call that a midlife crisis, ladies and gentlemen. But it does beg to ask the question, why do politicians get paid so much? They've slowly taken the term public servant out of the title of politician because being a politician has now become a business. It's become a business. David Lametti was one of many rats on a sinking ship that simply decided to flee. He thought he could swim to get away. My hope and my hope for the future is that the law comes looking for David Lametti. I don't think any amount of law degree can protect him for what's coming next. I certainly hope, I know people always say nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to come of these things, but keep in mind, David Lametti is not Justin Trudeau. And David Lametti, much like Marco Mendicino, much like Chrystia Freeland, like Jagmeet Singh, they all had a hand. If you watched last week when they talked about the federal court's ruling, Jagmeet Singh sat back and says, "Oh, we just observed what was going on and we made what we thought was the best decision for Canadian security, and we're going to continue to sit on the fence and make our observations as time moves forward." He doesn't want to own up to essentially trampling over Canadians' rights and agreeing and pushing and forming a coalition to trample our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This is corruption at its finest. David Lametti talks about a hurting economy. That's why they invoked the Emergencies Act. It was hurting his economy. It was ruining his life so he couldn't buy a Ferrari. That's why they invoked the Emergency Act. How dare the plebs speak up? I hope the long arm of the law comes for David Lametti, and I hope it comes for Marco Mendicino. I hope it comes for all of them. Which ones it will come for, we have yet to see. And of course, once a conservative government, because let's be honest, folks, Pierre Poilievre is going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. And it's going to be interesting to see if accountability is going to be on the docket for the Conservative Party of Canada. Let me know what you guys think down below about David Lametti leaving. Let me know if you think that at some point in time, the law may come for him. I personally think that there's nowhere this man can hide. Because nothing says guilt like nuking your Twitter account. Time will tell. And let's pray that it does. Again, folks, give me your comments down below. Like, share, get it out, subscribe. Anytime we talk about the government, we are just completely hammered down in the algorithm. So make sure to do all the usual YouTube stuff. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that button to click over on our notification bells so that you can be notified every time we drop new content, as well as go live here on the channel. Speaking of going live, we have our usual live streams every Sunday here on the channel at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. However, this Saturday, February 2nd, make sure to be on the lookout for our special sit-down with Queen of Canada herself, Tamara Lich. She's essentially going to come here and we're just going to visit, hang out, listen to what you guys have to say, and pretty much talk about anything she wants to talk about. I'm looking forward to sitting down with her, and I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you there. I hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll catch you on the next one.